All right, Ante. We have the legend in the house, Dee Brown, Travis Thomas, Ante Campbell here with Dee Brown. And look, I got to set this off right. I can't even shoot my first question to you, Dee, without giving the stance, man. You already know what it is, baby. Hey, Dee, I was a child of the 90s, man, so you had it popping for all of us. So first of all, congratulations on your Basketball Legacy Award with the tradition at the Sports Museum. Talk to me about just your love affair with the city. I mean, as much love as you've given over the years and as much love as you've received from Boston over the years.
Now, first of all, thanks for having me on the show. Very, very humbled, honored to be able to receive the award at the tradition for the Sports Museum. You know, all the names that's been in there inducted before me and gotten the Basketball Legacy Awards and, you know, going in with other great players that played in New England is also obviously an honor as well. But, you know, the love for Boston is real. First time away from home was in Boston. Being drafted there, playing with the Big Three, the original Big Three, being around Hall of Famers on a daily basis like Ray Auerbach and Seth Sanders and Tommy Heisen and Bob Cousy and, JoJo White, Dennis Johnson, all those guys are big brothers to me. And they paved the way for me to be able to be there and get love where I received in Boston, playing in old Boston Garden, playing with, all the great players I played with and coaches I got a chance to be around. But it's about the city. I love Boston. I still got family up there. My wife's from Cambridge, Massachusetts, went to Ridge and Latin and went to AIC and played basketball. So I still have a close bond to the area of Boston. So, it's still, to me, basically my second home.
Yeah, you talk about the love for Boston. I want to know, how did playing for a historic franchise like the Celtics shape your career on and off the court, man?
Well, I think the biggest thing was I was a student of the game. So I remember watching when I was younger, watching the Celtics Lakers on CBS with Tommy Heisen was doing the calls. And I was it was funny. Everybody thought I was going to be a Lakers fan. I was more of a Celtics fan because I loved the way they played, the team basketball, the passing, the cutting. Even though I was an athletic person, then that's what Showtime was in LA, I loved the fundamental part of the game. So I was a big student. So I remember when I visited Boston, during getting prepared for the draft, I got a chance to spend a lot of time with Red Auerbach and talk to him in his office, which is basically a sports museum in its own right. He had so much stuff in there, and I was in awe. And that was like, this is the place I wanted to be. Obviously, I had no control over that. I was slated to go, higher, and I could have dropped to lower. But I think I had a real connection with the city when I got a chance to spend time with Red for at least a few hours. And we just talked basketball the whole time, history. He was very, very impressed with my, love of not just the game, but the history of the Celtics. So when I got drafted, to be there to play with the veteran guys who won championships, played in the old Garden, to be around guys who've won championships, it molded me because I didn't realize how hard it was to win not just a game in the NBA, but win a championship. Because you're always saying in Boston, we don't hang division banners in Boston. We hang championship banners in Boston.
Yeah.
And I knew that from day one. We won Atlantic Division championship, but there wasn't no banners in there for that. We won championship. So I got a chance to be around that atmosphere, what hard work was, what to be professional was. Larry, Kevin, and Chief and DJ were all different types of leaders to me. Larry showed me how hard it was to work. Yeah, I thought I was working hard until I saw Larry Bird work hard. I thought I was having fun playing the game until I saw Kevin McHale, how much he had fun playing the game and how he took it serious, but he enjoyed the other parts of his life. And with Robert and DJ, they taught me how to be professional, how to dress for the games. I was wearing suits my rookie year because Robert and DJ say, listen, you're professional. You wear suits to the game. We don't wear sweatpants. We don't wear, casual clothing. You're a pro, so you're going to dress like a pro. So those things that I got from them, I try to use as I got older in the league and played for different teams after I left the Celtics and being in their front office. Those kind of mentorship things, passing forward to younger guys, I thought those things are very important that I got to learn from day one when I stepped in Boston.
I'm not going to lie, D, I miss the old school suited and booted. I mean, some of the outfits that these cats wear to these games now, don't even get me started. But look, man, the fan in me can't just let you keep just throwing these legendary names out there and not give me some stories, dog. Whether you give me an old Garden story or any of the legends, you name it. But I tell you what we need. We need a Larry Bird story. I know some of them you can't tell on TV, but you got to give us something, man. I need a Larry. I need some legendary stories. I need some old Garden stories. Give us something, kid.
Man, I mean, there's so many stories. You know, you experience so much with those guys, and again, they're like, you know, they're like rock stars when we travel. You know, my rookie year, we're still traveling commercial, so we're still, you know, flying. You know, commercial flights. You know, they're sitting in first class. I was sitting in coach. I was getting bags, taking bags to their rooms, picking up their laundries, things like that. Like we're supposed to do. You know, for Hall of Fame players and for your veteran guys. But I think that the story with Larry is that he would shoot with me after practice every day, and not that was part of my rookie duty, but I wanted to be better, so I wanted to be around Larry as much as I could, and we would literally shoot for hours and hours after practices. And we would shoot for money, and I didn't have a lot back then, but I thought I was a good shooter. And Larry, listen, like, hey, we're going to shoot. Yeah, I remember this is 1990, 91, $100 a shot. Okay, yeah, ain't no big deal. You know what? I can make a little extra money if I can beat Larry Bird in shooting. And, you know, I would go up, and then I would go down a lot during the course of the year. So during the course of the season, you know, I kind of got in the hole a little bit. So I said, you know what? I'm going to write you a check. And I wrote him a check. I ain't going to say how much. And I gave it to him. So the season goes on. We're still shooting. I'm still doing it just because I want to be better. And then at the end of the season, you know, Larry gave me my check back. He never cashed a check. He was like, listen, this is for you being like wanting to absorb information. You wanting to be a pro. You shooting after practice with me, chasing rebounds down, and he never cashed a check. Like, and to me, I felt that I earned his respect. You know, like, listen, yeah, if you'd have gave me a check, I probably cashed it. I was a rookie. I didn't have money like that. So, but for him not to do that was amazing. I try to beat him at practice every day, and every day. No matter how early I got there, I could never beat Larry Bird practice. And you hear those stories about that. It's true. If he wanted to be the first at practice, no matter who it was, a rookie, a 10-day guy, a guy on the injured reserve list, like he was that professional. So, you know, the stories you hear about Larry, just him talking mess at the benches, like, you know, why you got this guy guarding me? Like, I heard those stories, you know, and was sitting there like, man, he really talking crazy to the bench like that. And he did. And he was serious. Like, you can't have these people guard me. I'm the coldest white dude in the building. Like, y'all are crazy. And he's about as good as they get as far as trash talking, but also a professional and doing things the right way. I got a chance to be around that for a couple of years.
Wow. Yeah, man. That takes me back to, you know, I'm just thinking about our time right now and our landscape that we live in. And it's just so different now. Now guys get traded all the time, or the media is asking for dudes to get traded. And, you know, so you have less time with these veterans. But I want to ask you about, like, your time being traded. I know it's always impactful to the players, which people don't think about when they get on the media, get on our show, whatever, say, hey, this dude should be traded, this dude should do that, blah, 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 blah. But back when you got traded, it was a different time because Rick Pitino was your head coach and he was your GM at the time. So did that add a little extra to it when you say, dang, my coach and my GM didn't even want me to be here?
Yeah, it was. But I mean, it's been going Rick Pitino stories, but I don't know if we have enough time for that.
Give us one, D. Give us one.
Yeah, you can give us one.
Oh, boy. Oh, my goodness. Now, Rick was he was different. He was a basketball mind. There ain't too many coaches I know the game as much as Rick Pitino. Like, the dude knows the game. He loved and slept and breathed basketball. You know, but he didn't, you know, he just didn't fit what we're talking about with the Celtics as far as the family environment and, you know, just being, you know, a part of the whole and understanding the legacies and the Celtic pride. You know, he wanted to kind of dismiss all that. I thought I was going to be a Celtic forever. You know, I had no intention of leaving. I was a captain of the Celtics at that time. So when I got traded, it was very hurtful because I didn't want to leave Boston. I thought, you know, we're finally turning the corner a little bit. You know, we had some down times, a few years before. That's why we, obviously made a change to get somebody like Rick Pitino from the basketball standpoint. But it was tough because, obviously my family was there, and they, like I said, still got extended family there, nieces and nephews there. So Boston's always been my home. So it was really hard. Now, guys are, leaving teams, playing there 2 or 3 years and leaving or signing as a free agent. Like, I wanted to spend my whole career at Boston. I thought I was going to retire as a Celtic. And, Rick was, he wanted to change the whole dynamic of what the Celtics were,
Right.
It wasn't about Celtic pride. It wasn't, he wanted to make it, his own. When he got there, the old Celtics was kind of oblivious, to him. Red didn't have really much to do with the team anymore. He traded basically. I was the last connection to the 80s Celtics. Like, I was the last guy to play in the Garden, the last guy to play with Bird, McHale, and Parrish when he got there. So I was kind of the last link to the glory days of the Celtics. And, I think I was a byproduct of him changing the whole culture a little bit. And that was very upsetting because now you see, now, you're back to the Celtic pride again. And, Brad Stevens done a great job. But, being traded is tough, because you got to be in the next city in 48 hours. And I got traded on the road. The way I got traded was weird because we played a game, my last home game, ever in Celtics uniform. I broke Larry Bird's 3-point record for the most threes in the game.
Wow.
That was my last home game in Boston.
Wow.
Went to All-Star break, down a road trip, and we were in a band. I think we were in Sacramento, and I didn't play. Me and Chauncey Billups. Chauncey was a rookie that year, and I didn't play that game. And I just had 28 points to game like a couple games before, and was starting. And I told Chauncey, "Hey, I think we got traded." And he didn't kind of understand because he's a rookie, he was young. And I said, "No, we got traded." And they didn't tell me; they told Chauncey. So we flew to Vancouver when the Grizzlies had a team. And I remember I woke up the next morning when we got to the hotel, and there was a note sitting on the door that told me, "Don't come to the bus. You've been traded." That's how I got told.
Damn.
I got told by a note under a door saying I got traded. And that was the thing that hurt me because I think I put enough time in with the organization to get a little bit more courtesy of telling me I got traded. So basically that's how I found out I got traded. A note under my door, "Don't come to the bus." And I had to fly to Toronto like the next day to go with the Raptors.
Damn, man, that's cold-blooded right there, bro. That's a hell of a way to find out, man.
It's tough in business. I mean, you understand the business part of it, but, I was there for 8 years, so that part you felt like you owed a little bit of conversation. I never had a conversation about it. And that was probably that kind of like jabbed you a little bit more. You understand the business part of basketball, but, you pack stuff up in the hotel, and I flew to Toronto. And, I had to be prepared to compete and be a leader for that young team in Toronto that I went to.
Well, I hate that it went down that way, but I also love that you have got your flowers in the years since and certainly now being honored the way that you are. I actually think your entire career is so unique because you talked about playing with the original Big Three. You talked about being in the last game in the Garden, obviously the Pitino era and getting traded, the great story you just shared. We appreciate that. I want to take you down a different lane because I'm from Maryland, okay? Reggie Lewis, Dee Brown, is an absolute legend in Baltimore. And I have vague memories of you guys playing as teammates, but can you talk to me about your relationship with the late, great Reggie Lewis and just what he was like as a person and as a teammate?
Reggie probably was the most amazing person I got a chance to be around because he was a humble superstar. He was the next great superstar for the Celtics. I got booked in. We talk about my career, and it kind of gets wiped out a little bit because I came in right after Lean Bias died, Big Three retiring, Reggie dying, and then they jumped to, Paul Pierce. So my whole career kind of nobody really talks about because there's a lot of transition, a lot of change going from the old building to the new building, a lot of people changing. And the significant part of that part with me was Reggie passing away. Great guy, unbelievable human being, great father, great husband. I still keep in contact with Donna, every once in a while, and her kids as well, Regina and Reggie Jr. So, it's tough because he was a future of the franchise, and I still have his jersey in my office. I look at it every day when I come to the office and know how blessed I am to be able to play this game and to know him for 3 or 4 years before he passed away in '93, July 27th. Again, he was one of the few guys that could play at all 3 levels. The things he did in the community, being at Northeastern, doing the turkey giveaway, that was a big thing that we wanted to support him for. And he was really big. He was quiet. He didn't broadcast everything he did. I remember back then there wasn't a lot of social media. So he did everything from the heart, because he was basically from Baltimore. Everybody knew, that's Truck. All the Baltimore people knew him as Truck. But when he got to Boston, he was an adopted son because he went to Northeastern and did all the stuff he did in the community as well. And I just remember when I got the call that he had passed away, I had just got back home from driving from Boston to back to Orlando. I was numb. I was numb flying back. I didn't know what to think. I didn't know what to say. I didn't know because obviously the incident happened during the playoffs versus Charlotte, and then all of a sudden passes away, a few months later. It's still numbing to me. But when I think of talk about it, because he was, just the guy that personified Celtic pride and everything you're supposed to do. Because the Celtics always had that guy that was going to be the next one to pull the torch. And when he passed away, the torch kind of was given to me. And I wasn't that type of player. I was very honest with my level of play. I was probably a good number 2 and a great number 3. I was not a number 1 on the championship team. I was talented, but I wasn't that talented like Reggie or Larry or Paul, those guys that came in that were great players. So I was given the responsibility of carrying the franchise for a few years, and it was tough because I really missed Reggie. I thought we had the backcourt of the future with me and him. I could, be his wingman and just keep growing the franchise in the right direction. So, it definitely devastated me because I remember a couple years of my career after Reggie passed away, and I've had my legitimately best statistical career numbers after Reggie passed away. I don't remember those years. Like it was blurred to me because it was hollow, because the guy that you thought you would be next to for your whole career was not there anymore. The guy that you were going to support and was not there anymore. So there's 2 years of my career I just don't remember. Highlights. I see him and go, wow, I did that. I don't remember him because it was a very, very tough time for me because I was part of that transition between losing him as a big brother, as a friend, as a teammate, but also, trying to uphold the standards of being, the leader of the Celtics during that time where we were just going through a tough period of just trying to find our way after that devastating tragedy with losing Reggie.
Yeah, man. Rest in peace, Reggie, man.
Yeah,
that's a real story that you just told, and we definitely appreciate that. And you talked about just being a leader and trying to be a leader for the Celtics, and I just want to take it back a little bit because you alluded to it earlier of you going on from the Celtics to the Raptors, and then from there to the Magic, 2 newer teams in the NBA at the time versus coming from a historic team. What was the biggest difference in those 3 franchises? Well, really, the Celtics versus the 2 new guys.
But the funny thing, when I got traded to Toronto, I just got back from Vince Carter's jersey retirement because he was my rookie when I was there.
Wow.
So was Tracy McGrady. So I just got back. We were telling stories. All the guys were there. And I remember talking to Glenn Grunwald, who was a GM at that time, and Butch Carter, who was the head coach. When I got there, it was funny. They're a young team, and they're just kind of all over the place, figure things out there. Just, part of the trade was, me and Chauncey going to Toronto, and Damon Stoudemire, who's their franchise player at the time, going to Portland, and Kenny Anderson coming to Boston. So when I got to Toronto, they were trying to do a culture shift, and they needed, leadership. And I got to practice next day, and I remember Butch Carter saying, hey, you're the captain. I'm like, wait a minute, I just got here 24 hours ago. He goes, no. I need a guy who's been around a winning friends, a tradition, understand what leadership looks like, understand what a culture looks like. I need you to be that person for me from day one. And me and Doug Christie were the captains, and I stepped off the plane and was a captain in Toronto. And not because, I was this amazing player. They felt that the reason why they traded for me was to bring that type of leadership and culture that I learned from all the years being a boss around the great players and Hall of Famers and coaches and teachers for the years being a boss. And so it was young, but Tracy McGrady was a rookie when I got there. The next year we drafted Vince. The year after that we got to the playoffs. In year three when I was there, it was like 2.5 years after I got traded. But the third year, first team to get to the playoffs in Raptors history. So, a lot of veteran guys on our team. And then the next year, after that, I signed as a free agent to go to Orlando with Tracy McGrady. Grant Hill was at a big signing with those two guys. And again, that's when Tracy blossomed and became a superstar as well. So, hopefully part of my leadership rubbed off on, Tracy and Vince when they're younger. And then Tracy when he was in Orlando, he obviously became just a great superstar player with the Magic. And, two different franchises, Boston obviously having all the history for so many years, but be able to come in to a franchise like Toronto to, instill your leadership with other veteran guys like Charles Oakley, Dale Curry, Muggsy Bogues, Antonio Davis, Kevin Willis. That's what we were in Toronto, around young athletes like Tracy and Vince. And then going to Orlando, they were restarting over. Doc Rivers was a coach there at that time as well. And to be able to see Tracy blossom and become a player he became after the time of them trying to, turn the corner as well. It's fulfilling that you can, be that that common voice or mentor guy later in your career. And I think that's important for all our veteran guys to be able to do that.
Man, I just think it's so dope, D, hearing you talk about your story and you realize that you quite literally touched generations of basketball, bro. Like your contributions to the game, no one can ever question. We appreciate that from you. And I want to go back to you getting drafted because I'm looking at this right now. I can't even believe this. You're drafted in the first round. You win the dunk contest. Your first team all rookie. I mean, what were you, 22, 23 years old? Your life had to be a movie. Let's talk that talk. What was it like at that time being you, man?
No, it was crazy because I'm like, it became fast because, again, first time I ever left home was when I got drafted by the Celtics.
Right.
So it was like first time I saw snow was in Boston. I had a spatula to use as an ice scraper because I didn't know what that was when I got to Boston. So it was a lot of learning curve my rookie year. But it was a whirlwind. We're a really good team my rookie year. Chris Ford was the head coach, passed away. Rest in peace, Chris Ford, who was one of the best coaches I've ever had. And it was perfect for me in my rookie year because he was no holds barred. He yelled at Larry the same way he yelled at me. And they were our coaches were all-star coaches because we had the best record in the league going through all-star break my rookie year. And then Larry hurt us back again. We stumbled a little bit, lost to Detroit in the second round, had a great playoffs. They obviously won the dunk contest that year, being all rookie. But I just remember, that summer was crazy. And I'll go back. It's funny, after I won the dunk contest, I remember, usually after All-Star weekend, we played on the road because the Circus was in town in Boston. So we would go on the road right after All-Star weekend. And I remember, we're getting to the hotel and we're getting off the bus and all these, autograph seekers and people are outside the hotel. And Larry walks off the bus and they run past Larry and run right to me and ask me for my autograph. And I was like amazed. And I remember Larry saying, man, people used to want to shoot like me. Now they want to dunk like D. And I was, that's when it hit me like, wow, I must have did something really big with people running past Larry Bird to get my autograph, because I won the dunk contest and what I did with the Reebok pumps and all that stuff like that.
Man.
And then the summertime, I was just, it was a whirlwind. I was doing Dunkin' Donuts commercials. I was doing, Just Want to Wait commercials. And I was, all over the place. I was doing, mall tours and things like that.
You was hot, D. You was hot.
Yeah. This was before social media. So I was like an overnight sensation.
Yeah.
Because of the dunk contest, because I played with the Celtics, because I had a great playoffs, was kind of looking forward to next year, having a breakout year, and things like that. So, it was, to be able to be in that environment and do, win a dunk contest as a rookie, be the first Celtic to ever do that, be around those guys who supported me, the veteran guys who they were my biggest cheerleaders, Larry, Kevin, Chief, Reggie, Brian Shaw, Kevin Gamble. Those guys are my biggest supporters of my rookie year because they uplifted me and made sure that I stayed focused. Even after that, they kept me grounded and focused as well.
Yeah, man, that dunk contest was special, and like Travis was doing,
man.
You invented the dab, man. The kids, you invented the dab, man. So your no look dunk was special, man. I just need to know a couple questions about it. First, how did you come up with it? How much time did you spend practicing that dunk before the dunk contest? And how did it feel to see Jaylen Brown in last year's dunk contest pay homage to it with his lob and then no-look dunk attempt? It wasn't as good as yours. I can say that. It wasn't as good as yours.
It wasn't as good. It ain't hit like yours.
Original, but
it ain't hit the same.
But he paid homage, and it was fire. 47.6 he got on it, so it was fire.
Yeah, I mean, I've known Jay since he was in high school, so I remember him when I lived in Georgia. I remember watching him in high school, and before he went to Cal, he was a great kid. Mm-hmm. Spoke with him before he got drafted. Right after he got drafted to the Celtics, quickly bought the number and stuff like that. And I was like, listen, this is your number. It's not retired. And I was very honored to see Brown number 7 running around again. I can go buy my jersey again. I have to order a special order now. They don't order for now. There's Brown 7 everywhere. So I'm like, great, go ahead. Wear it. My name's going to always be around. It's going to get retired, but it's going to be Jaylen Brown. So I'm going there with you. Anyway, the contest was funny because back then you couldn't use props. You couldn't use chairs, jump over people. Liability issue back in the 90s. We had that type of insurance we got now. So you're like, no props, no nothing. So I'd never practiced that dunk before. The first time I did the no-look dunk was at the contest, so I didn't know I was going to do it. That was the first time I ever did it. So I had no clue. So basically, the dunk I was going to do, I had a prop. It was a hat. And I was going to tip the hat to the crowd and do a dunk. But they said you can't use a prop. So I had to think of something quick. And I wanted a signature dunk. I wanted something nobody's ever done before. You think of, the dunk contest, think of, Michael from the free throw line, Dominique Windmill. That was back fresh in everybody's minds. I said, I need a signature dunk. So I'm literally sitting on the box, getting the ball ready to do a dunk. I'm saying, I can do this dunk. I had a couple of dunks I could do. I said, I need something different. So between standing up and running to the basket, that's when I made the dunk in about 5 seconds. So it basically I say, hey, I'm going to jump up, I'm going to close my eyes. But nobody's going to really know if I close my eyes or not. So let me put my hand over my eyes, and organically, while jumping, my arm went into my hand, and that was a dunk. And that's how it happened. Like, never practiced before, never did it before that. Had no clue. Hopefully, I'm glad I made it. Definitely wasn't looking. I made sure of that. And, the rest is history. So that's pretty much how the dunk became the dunk. By just having, the imagination to think of something in real time. And hopefully I didn't hit the side of the backboard, which I didn't, so it was great.
Nah, you did not. You did your thing on that. And look, me and Ante almost came to blows before the show because I wanted to ask you that question because his little young ass wasn't even born yet. I lived it. I lived it, D. I had your shoes. I had the pumps. Yeah. I want to ask about that because I'm telling you right now, bro, those pumps and that iconic shot of you pumping your shoes up before that dunk, bro. You, man, I want to thank you for your contributions to the culture, Dee Brown. Talk to me about your relationship with Reebok back then. Did you know it was going to go that crazy? I know you had to get a bag, D. You had to get a bag because everybody had your shoes, bro.
Well, I'll tell you, I already had a Reebok contract before that because I was at Reebok was really the first companies that really, came after me when I got to Boston, and they were based in Boston, so it was great for me. They were right in Stoughton at that time, Canton area, and I was like, listen, y'all give me money to wear shoes? I'm 20 years old. They're like, y'all give me some money to wear some shoes and free gear? Oh, I'm signing Reebok, and it was great because they were very, very hands-on. Shout out to Joanne Bozakian, who at that time was the first female global basketball marketing person. So shout out to her because she's my person from day one. And still in Boston, she's a big Celtics fan, always at the games. But funny part, I'm still a Reebok athlete now to this day. After 30 years. So is my daughter. She's obviously plays in WNBA, the LA Sparks, Tracy Brown. She's a Reebok athlete as well. So they've done a great job of taking care of Dee Brown and his family. So, still repping Reebok. But the pump, they didn't know I was going to do that. They had no clue that I was doing that before the contest. It was a surprise to them that I was pumping my shoes up before my dunks. So it was, and again, I didn't do it because I was trying to promote, and it was more of a trying to get the crowd behind my side. You know, the dunk contest was in Charlotte, and Charlotte had 2 players in the dunk contest that year, Rex Chapman and Kendall Gill. They both played for the Hornets. So I was like, okay, 2 down already. So I had to get inside. So I did it because I wanted the crowd to get hyped up, understand how, I understood the whole marketing club. I pumped the shoes up, jumping higher, and things like that. And I mean, I was wearing the pumps before that. I was wearing them during the season, and I loved them because I didn't like to get my ankles taped. So, the technology at that time was, I could put my shoes up and tighten my shoes up because I hated tape my ankles ever since college. So it kind of was ideal for me before the contest that I had the shoes. But obviously doing that during the contest took it to a whole different level. And I remember, Jordan telling me that I started the shoe wars because, Jordan was Jordan, and he was like, listen, dude, like, you started something like that. You started something. And, I think that was the one time that Reebok outsold Nike.
Wow.
That next year because everybody wanted to buy pumps and things like that. So it was, obviously it was a big deal.
Yeah.
People still talk about it. Shoes are, we've come out with different versions of the shoe and 25-year anniversary shoe and 30-year anniversary shoe. So, I'm still doing things with them and still having some great things coming out very soon with them. So it's been exciting, but I ever think that 34 years later, we'll still be talking about a shoe, and that shoe, obviously, being iconic with that dunk, that people know when you hear Reebok pump, you think of the first thing you think about is Dee Brown. That's, that's very special. Like, that's something that you can never, ever take away. It's a legacy that I hopefully have built in a positive way, like you said. I remember me pumping my shoes up and, people buying them the next day thinking they can make them jump higher and things like that. I can walk literally, twice a week, 3 times a week, have people bend over and go, you the guy that did thing with the shoes.
Yeah.
And they can have on penny loafers, they can have on sandals, they can have on flip-flops. It didn't matter. They'll pump up whatever just to mimic that image. And that just makes you feel good that you did something that kind of stuck in their mind from their childhood or college or whatever it was. That was, everlasting.
It was iconic, Dee Brown. And listen, bro, I'm glad to hear you still have this great relationship with Reebok because I know a couple guys who could be brand ambassadors and work with you. You can come on here and tell us about the new releases. We'll wear them on the show. We'll talk about them on the show. I just think Hold My Banner needs to be involved with the Dee Brown brand. That's all. Go ahead, Ante. I just wanted to plant that seed.
Let me talk about people. You understand. Shaq is the president of Reebok basketball, and AI is the vice president of Reebok basketball.
Yep.
I work with the whole brand, with the basketball side and also just obviously lifestyle side of Reebok. So hey, you never know.
Come on, D. Hook us up, D.
Man, look, D, I love all the Reebok love, but I got to ask you about an Adidas guy, and I got to fast forward a little bit to a time later on in your career, 1991. We're going to go to August 3rd, 2000. T-Mac, your teammate on the Raptors, was traded from the Raptors to the Magic. On that same exact day, you decided that you were going to sign and join him on the Magic. What went into that decision? Did T-Mac have anything to do with it? And tell us about your relationship.
Insider trading.
With the great Tracy McGrady.
I'm going to tell you a funny story about that. So I was a free agent. So remember, the first time ever in my career was, for me being a unrestricted free agent, was my 10th year in the league. Because I had my rookie contract, and then it was 4 years, and I signed a 6-year extension with the Celtics. So it took me to 10 years. So the first time ever I had a chance to be a free agent. And my career was my 10th year. You know, guys are free agents all the time now. So I was in the league 10 years before I had a chance to pick and choose where I wanted to go. Obviously, Florida's home. You know, I wanted to stay in Toronto. Toronto, you know, was a great place for me. But Doc Rivers was a coach down in Orlando. Opportunity to go back home, play in front of my family. And, you know, me knowing T-Mac and being around him his rookie year, you know, he wanted to be a franchise player on his own and be back home as well. And here's a funny story. So I signed with Orlando. So they had this big press conference, right? Mm-hmm. And, you know, Grant Hill's on the stage, Tracy McGrady's on the stage, and I'm there. I'm not on the stage because they're the two marquee guys. And the headline for the free agent signing was the Magic signed 3 free agents to $200 million, right? Mm. Well, the catch was that Tracy made 98 and Grant made 98. The other 4 was me. Mm. So I'm like, wait a minute. Like, it's a funny story because they make it sound like it was split by 3. I split by 3. It was split by 2, and I got the rest. So I signed back home, you know, for like $2 million a year, which I mean still a lot of money. But it's funny how they made the story seem like 3 guys signed for $200 million. It's really, those 2 signed 98, and I took the rest of the $200 million for myself. So you know, funny. I laugh all the time when I see that headline. But you know, I just want to be back home, you know. And at that time, Doc Rivers, that was his first coach job, up and coming coach. You know, we didn't know what was going to happen with Grant. You know, obviously, you know, Tim wasn't healthy enough to really show how good he was from back playing with the Pistons. But yeah, I mean, it was more just being back home. Tracy wanted to be back home, and I had the opportunity to do that for the first time ever in my career.
I want to kind of piggyback off that because I feel like nowadays it's more prominent to have hoopers coming out of the South. But in your day, check me if I'm wrong, but in your day, I feel like it was more rare. I know you're from Jacksonville. Can you tell us about the journey coming out of Duval? Because now there's more players coming out of Florida and Georgia and all those places, but I feel like during your time it wasn't as prominent. Am I tripping?
No, you're right. I mean, Florida's a football state. Always will be a football state, even though we're struggling. All our state schools are struggling, boy.
They are. They're
struggling.
Man.
So, you know, other than Miami here, all the schools are struggling, but it's a football state. And then probably second, baseball state. Mm-hmm. So basketball, we have a lot of athletes, but all the athletes want to play football because of Florida State, Florida, Miami. You know, when I was growing up, you know, UCF didn't have a football team. You know, when I went to school, they didn't have a football team. At Jacksonville University, where I'm at now, is one of our athletic directors. So being back in my alma mater has been great. But it's definitely, you know, it was never a big basketball state. I remember, you know, the biggest basketball star to come out of my school is Artis Gilmore. Like Artis Gilmore, you know, was the biggest guy to come out. And then after that was a few guys, James Ray, Otis Smith, that was in the dunk contest as well my year. So we had 2 Jacksonville University players, which is, you know, a trivia question.
Right.
That was in a dunk contest the same year, which is probably unheard of. 2 guys from the same college, that small, and in the same dunk contest, me and Otis Smith. But it wasn't a lot of basketball players. But you go down the list, but if you start going down history and you start doing a little deep dive, there are a lot of guys from Florida. Derek Harper's from Florida. Mitch Richmond's from Florida. You know, there's a few more guys from the Tampa area that's from Florida that got drafted. So there's not a ton of guys, but there's significant guys who had major impact, who were really great players in the NBA from Florida. So, you know, I was never you know, a big name coming out of high school. I was a big name coming out of college. I had to work my way and really go to all the camps and all-star games to make my name known. You know, coming out of college, made sure that I was prepared for all the workouts and things like that. So, you know, it wasn't given. I had to work my way up that ladder, coming from a small school like Jacksonville University. So it's tough. Like you said, now it's turned a little bit more to a basketball state, a little bit more, you know, Florida won back-to-back championships with Bill Donovan, and nobody kind of like talks about that. The last time that was done, you know, Connecticut did it. You know, they just did it. But before that, it was Florida. So there have been some great players that have come through, obviously, the schools at Florida But a lot of homegrown guys now, you can start picking up a little bit more about in the state of Florida.
Yeah, man. Look, Florida gets a lot of love from us because Travis and I love the Florida rap culture as a whole as well. We talk culture on this show all the time, D. So I got to ask you a question, bro. What were you listening to back in the day when you was playing during the playing days? I need some of that. What are you listening to? What was it? Dee Brown's speaker box.
I'm a Florida boy. So I'm gonna definitely say, I'm very transparent. I was listening to Live Crew. I love Luke Skywalker. I love Luke Skywalker. One of my homeboys who's from Jacksonville, the Riddle player, the 69 boys, 95 South. They're from Jacksonville. We grew up together. There's things like that. Shout out to my boy, Riddle player. Great dude. He's still doing stuff for the culture in Jacksonville.
Wow.
And then, I remember early in my career, that's when I was still learning about New York hip hop. And I love like the old school hip hop, still love it. That's when LL Cool J just got on the scene, Fat Boys, Run DMC. I was an old head, so I listened to guys like that, the Beastie Boys, the old school people like that. I was trying to break dance with my breaking board in Jacksonville, with parachute pants on, so trying to think I was from New York, but I wasn't. I was from Florida. So a lot of the hip hop, was all there. But I was definitely, love my Florida hip hop. Kind of going through, then people start, the Poison Clan and, Trick Daddy and all that crew down in Miami. Was down, obviously, representing for the culture of Florida, put Florida on the map as well. But I was, definitely listening to a lot of the old school hip hop. And back then, I'm saying my Walkman.
There it is.
Was the Walkman. Back in the day.
Yeah.
D, look, I got to ask you real quick, too, while we're on that subject of music, which one of your teammates had the best music and which one of your teammates had the worst? Because, we always ask that question, who did you pass the aux to? Who did you trust with the aux? And who did you not trust with the aux back in the day? I know. That's why I say we say that now, Travis. Come on.
Yeah. I think the person that had the most connection with music was Charles Oakley.
Oh, wow.
Okay. OG. And he knew everybody in New York. I mean, he knew people by first name basis. They knew him. He walked in the spot and it shut down. Like he was that dude that I would definitely pass the aux to. And like, listen, where we going? What hip hop club we going to?
Right.
Who we listen to? Who come to the game? Oh yeah, so and so come to the game for real. Like guys like that. Like and he was definitely part of the culture and part of the people that respected in the league, not just from the basketball standpoint, from entertainment standpoint. The person I wouldn't trust with it, oh man, there's a lot of dudes.
Just one? We only need one.
I'm gonna say Darryl Armstrong. Darryl Armstrong, my boy, he's assistant coach of the Dallas Mavericks right now, but he was. I don't want to call him country ghetto, but he was ghetto country. Like he was. I don't know what he was playing, and he was different, and he was great. And he would mess up a locker room flow. He's playing some stuff. I'm like, DA, we call him little buddy, what you playing? What we doing here? Like turn that off. Whatever you got on, I can't. Number one, I don't know what that is. And he would put on anything. So that's my guy. Yeah, that's my guy. But he was a guy like, man, whatever he got playing, man, just turn it off. Whatever you got going on for the game or doing on the bus, do not let DA get it. It's not going to be something you listen to.
He was killing the flow, huh?
Killing the flow. That's my dude. That's my dude. But man, that's back then where you had we had like the real plug-in headphones,
right?
The big ones,
man.
The box,
right?
Man, turn that off. Take his batteries.
Bro, I want to ask you this. This is my last question, D. Talk to me about this current Celtic team. What did you make of the championship run last season? And you know what I'm going to ask now? Do they have a repeat in them? They're looking good right now, D. What do you think?
Yeah. I mean, I'd love – listen, anytime the Celtics win a championship, that's great for basketball to me.
Yeah.
Because of history and we got one more than the Lakers. So that's important to me as well. So that's always the biggest thing, have one more than the Lakers. And then just to see those young guys, Jason and Jalen kind of, come together the way I knew they would be. There was so many talking points out there. You got to split them up. They can't play together. They found a way. And I think, I give a lot of credit to Brad Stevens for putting that team together. Brad did a great job when Brad went upstairs. He was the first part of, being a coach there and helping develop a culture of winning and respect and accountability. Then we went upstairs, he was part of putting the team together, and the guys he brought in were great. That fit Jalen and Jason, and that's how you build a team out of your two superstars. And it was great to see those guys do that. And then obviously, you hate for the incident to happen, but for Joe to get the job and all of a sudden take his lumps his first year, the next year come out swinging and really grasp who those guys were. They trust them, they believe in them, and you got a coach like that will tell you the truth, hold everybody accountable, hold himself accountable. Joe was never ever shy away from accountability and saying that's my fault. That's what you want, and players respond to that, and that's what they did. And the run they had last year, during the season, during the playoffs, I don't think it's talked about enough. I mean, they ran through the playoffs. I mean, they really, had a great run and then beat some really good teams. People say guys were hurt, this, that. That's supposed to happen. That happens. Part of being successful is being not injured and being healthy. That happens to every team. And I'm glad that they got a chance to win the championship, see them raise that banner up there. And the way they did it was great. I think they got a great team this year. They're still, not operating on a championship hangover, which is good. They lost a tough one. They've lost a couple tough ones at home against teams they probably should have beat. But I think that's part of the season, 82-game season. And those are learning points for them. They'll grow with that. Once, Porzingis gets healthy, to get the rotation back down. I think Jalen just came out, with a crutch on this, a chip on his shoulder from, obviously, USA Basketball not being on the team, and Jason for being on the USA Basketball team not playing, trying to show people that, we're superstar players. We deserve the accolades that we're getting, and, we've got a chance to repeat. So I think they got a really good chance. I mean, the East is it's struggling a little bit.
It's trash.
I'm not going to say that word, but it's struggling. You might think it's like two teams over 500.
Right.
In the Eastern Conference, everybody else is 500 below. So it's tough, and you got all these teams, building their teams to beat the Celtics. If the Celtics don't beat themselves to stay healthy, stay locked in and focused, and obviously Jalen and Jason can, D. White and Drew Holiday keep growing together. They got a chance to repeat. And that the last thing I want to say on that, going back to Brad, you never see a team not just keep their core, but keep all their role players. Role players always, they try to leave, get paid. I just want a championship, I want to get money. And the Celtics didn't have a problem rewarding those guys as well. We're going to pay the luxury tax. I know it's going to cost a lot of money, but if this is what the fans want, they want a championship. We want a championship. We want to win another one. Let's keep this core group together. Let's keep the bench together. And you can see how that cohesiveness and, the way they care about each other, it shows. And that's how you get to 82 games and to the playoffs, when you get guys, they're all on the same page from day one. And they got basically the same group back with a couple additions to try to make a run again for another championship.
Yeah, last one for me, D, and I'm going to let you get up out of here. This is a family show, and you talked about your Celtics family right there on that one, but I need to talk about your true flesh and blood, man.
Yes.
Your daughter, Lexi Brown. Now, look, you got drafted to a New England team in the first round of the NBA draft. She got drafted to a New England team with the Connecticut Sun of the first, in the first round of the WNBA draft. Did that make her draft night even more special to you, to see that she got drafted into the area that you love so much?
Yeah, it was very special. And first of all, to have, a kid, again, get drafted in the first round was very special. My daughter, obviously, we had a great career, college career, a lot of accolades, two-time All-American. Played at Maryland her first 2 years and at Duke her last couple of years. But had a great career, definitely a better career than I did in college. So for her to get drafted, in the first round was special because I was a former, we're kind of the first duo to be a former WNBA coach, to have a daughter that got drafted in the WNBA. So that was special as well. So we had a lot of firsts, but her to get drafted to Connecticut, play there, learn a lot. She won a championship when she was with Chicago Sky with Candace Parker, Clea Copper, and, those ladies there. But now she's in LA, playing well, doing her thing, done with the Spark. So I'm happy for her. Her career is definitely going in the right direction. Should be her 8th year in the league. She's had some, issues dealing with, she found out she had Crohn's last year. So she's been dealing with that and trying to get back on the court, been in and out for the last 6 months. But she's been very, very positive about that, healthy, getting back on the court, playing in the W, and also AU basketball, which is a 5-on-5 league that's been around for 4 years. So she's part of that as well. So she's done a lot of great things on and off the court. I'm very happy for her. She's on different podcasts with Gilbert Arenas. So she's definitely has molded her way. And It used to be that I was, like, oh, Dee Brown is your dad. Now I'm Lex Brown's dad. I'm Lex Brown's dad. I'm her dad, and I just follow her and support her as much as I can. And she's done a great job for Pat, just fulfilling and forging her own way in her professional career.
Well, Dee Brown, we're proud of you, and we thank you for your contributions to the culture. We thank you for your contributions to the game of basketball. You always and forever will have a home here on Hold My Banner. So we appreciate you, Dee. Thank you, man.
I appreciate you guys. Thank you guys. Always love. Thanks for having me. Love talking about all this stuff. It's great memories, and I appreciate you guys very much.
For the legend,
you too. For the legend, Dee Brown, Ante Campbell, Travis Thomas. That's it for us here on Hold My Banner. Till next time, when we ask you to hold it again, we're going to take you out with the Dee Brown dunk. Peace!